Hello guys, welcome back to Numboid. Today we're going to do some questions on double integration. So I'm going to have 4 questions in this video, each one's harder than the last. It would be great if you could pause, have a go, and then we can work through the solution together. So let's get straight into the first double integration question. So our first question here, sorry that's a bit blurry, but it's our integral from 2 to 1 of y and 3 to x of 1 plus 8xy dx dy. So have a pause, have a go at it, and I'm going to work through it now. So first thing we're going to do is obviously we have this first bit here, this dx, so just ignore this outside y bit, we're going to focus on that bit. So we've got the integral from 2 to 1, and then we can integrate this with respect to dx, so we get, I'm going to put it in a bracket, x plus x squared and divide by the 2, so 4x squared y, and that's from 3 to 0 dy. So now if we plug in our numbers, we'll have the integral from 2 to 1 of 3 plus 3 squared is 9 times 4 is, what is that? It's 36. So 36y. And then this is minus 0. But because there's 0 there and 0 there, it all goes to 0. So I'm not going to write that in. I mean, I could, but there's no point. dy. So now we can work on the second integral here. This 2 to 1 of 3 plus 36y dy. To give us the answer, put this in a bracket of 3y squared over 2. Oh, there's no y in originally. Plus, this will be squared divided by the 2, so we'll get 18y squared. And that is from 2 to 1. So now when we plug in our numbers, we'll get 3 times 2, which is 6, plus 2 times 4. 2 squared is 4 times 18 gives you 40, 4 times thingy gives you 32, that's 72. And then we're going to minus 3 times 1, which is 3, plus 1 squared is 1 times 18, 18. And this gives us 32 plus 6 gives you 78, minus 21 to finish with our answer being 57. So well done if you got the answer to this. So this answer up here equals 57. Let's move on to our second and more trickier double integration question. So this is our second question. We got an integral from pi over 2 to 0, an integral from 1 to 0 of y sine x dy dx. So like I did in the last one, we're just focusing on this dy part first. So we're going to have the integral from pi over 2 to 0, and when we integrate y sine x with respect to y, we square the y and divide by 2, so we get y squared over 2 of sine x, this is in a bracket because that's from 1 to 0, dx. And so putting the 1 in, you get 1 squared, which is 1 over 2, so you get half sine x, and the 0 will just cancel it all out, so we can just write this as, that's meant to be 2 sine x over 2 dx. Now you can either take the half out because it's a constant, or you can leave it in, doesn't really matter. I'm going to leave it in just to keep this a bit cleaner. So now we're integrating with respect to dx, and sine integrated gives you minus cos. So if we do a curly bracket here, we'll get minus cos x over 2 with pi over 2 and 0. And this will give you minus cos pi over 2 of cos gives you 0, so you get minus 0 over 2 minus cos 0 is 1, so minus 1 over 2. This is 0 obviously, this is a minus of a minus, so it gives you equals to half. Well done if you got that answer there. We'll move on to the next one. So this is our third question here. We've got the integral from 2 to 0 and the integral of x to x squared of y squared x dy dx. And I'm going to have a go at it because you've got no numbers in this first one now. So I'm going to go through it now. So we have the integral from 2 to 0. If we integrate with respect to y, we get y cubed over 3. So cubed over 3 x from x to x squared dx. So this now gives you throw an x in there, you get x cubed over 3 times x is x4 over 3. So integral 2 to 0 of x4 over 3. And then we minus this x squared, x cubed gives you x6 times another x gives you x7 over 3 dx. So now we're going to integrate this again to get the integral, the product of x to the 4, add a 5 on, divide by that, gives you x5 over 15 minus, add 1 on, 8 times 3 gives you 24, so we're going to have x8 over 24 to 0. So now we're going to put in our numbers, and obviously the 0 will just cancel everything out, so we only have to worry about this 2. So 2 to the 5 over 15 minus 2 to the 8 over 24. Now I'm going to quickly plug that into my calculator to get the answer. So 2 to the 5 over 15, take 2 to the 8 over 24 to give you the answer of minus 128 over 15. Well done if you got that answer there. So this comes to minus 128 over 15. Right, let's move on to a final question now. So this is our last question here. Pause and have a go at it. We have the integral of 1 to 4 and the integral of 0 to square root of y of e to the x over square root of y dx dy. And I'm going to do what I've done every time and focus on this first inside one bracket here first. So we're going to have integral 4 to 1. Now e to the x over square root of y, integrated that. You divide by the coefficient, which is 1 over square root of y. And dividing by that, it just times and flips. So you get the square root of y times e to the x over square root of y dy. Now we got to throw in put this in a bracket and have our square root of y and our 0, because we've got to put them values in, so then we get the integral of 1. Now if we throw square root of y into where x is, you'll see that we get square root of y over square root of y, which is 1, so we get the square root of y e to the 1, which is just e, and then we got a minus our 0 value, and we throw 0 in here, we'll get e to the 0, which gives you just 1. So you get the square root of y dy. Now as you can see, you might be able to see that there's a multiple in it, a factor or whatever in here of e minus 1, because square root of y is times by both of them. So we can take that out. So e minus 1, and I'm going to simplify the square root of y just to y over to the half, because it's much easier to integrate when it's like that. So now we've got to integrate this. So we've got to add 1 to the value to get 3 over 2 and divide. We give you e to the minus 1 of 2 over 2y over 3, with the y being 3 over 2 of 4 to 1. So now we're just going to throw in our numbers. So our 4 to the 3 over 2 gives you 8 times 2, and then divided by 3 gives you 16 over 3. So you're going to have e minus 1, 16 over 3, and throwing a 1 in will just give you 2 over 3. So then we'll get 14 over 3, so this comes to 14 over 3 e minus 1. Well done if you got that right. Thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure if you enjoyed it to hit that like, subscribe, and comment to see any other maths videos you want to see. I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.